Today came the autonomy of Rafa. This little friend should have been waiting for a long time, because they also encountered a lot of difficulties. I already said it in the last episode. This Toyota frame doesn't work. So hurry up and buy materials. Hurry up and weld the frame out. Did we watch the last episode? Just welded a chassis, but the frame is a hole. So in this section, they had to finish the frame completely. I can see it now. Did you use this material? It's not thin, it's thick. I used this thing a lot. They didn't just solder a chassis and a pack. Including this, the whole frame has to be taken out. The most used steel is very much. The one I did before, the fiberglass hole is just put on. So now there is a large number of one soda. Take a job. This shape must be done, well, after welding. You can roughly see one of the cars. Outline. This one, right? Is there anything wrong with the skeleton? But haha. So here's the problem. You probably think what I think. So many things are welded on. How much does this frame weigh? And they're still installing the old Toyota one. 4-cylinder engine. Add this gearbox. So's this car. It's very likely to be the same as Bugatti again. That trailer can't get on. This motivation is worrying. It's not the engine that doesn't work, right? It's just, this car is way too heavy. What about this weight? It's all saved on the car shell. Haha, but it's all moved to this frame. Look how thick the material used in this is. It's not easy to do. No way, this is... Well, it's a compromise. It's a choice. Would someone stand and talk? Is your back hurting? Why don't they use a V8 engine? No need for a V12 engine. My good brother, you have to buy this. You see, this budget is limited, right? That's all the money. Haha, there are only so many abilities in this ability. You said I had to get a V1 to V8. Is it not difficult for you to do it for me? So this thing is... What do you mean? Let's understand them. We can't say anything about this, and don't be fascinated by it. Okay. People have that condition, in that way. That must be a big deal. Right, then why use one of these? What about a 4-cylinder engine? Okay, let's not discuss this topic. Okay? You really can't see it. You can build your own. As for what you said, right? Okay, what about this soldering thing? It's almost well dead. And as you can see, there's a lot going on. It's a very strong structure. Yeah, it's crash-worthy. It's fine after a few rolls. But here's the thing. It's a 4-cylinder Toyota. With such a heavy body, how many rolls do you want to turn? I guess it is also a difficult thing. The chassis itself is very low and heavy. Low and wide. Okay, so thin. It feels like it's all on the ground. And the tires are big. The motivation is not very strong. The speed can't run again. How can this thing roll a few times? You said this car, on the highway, can run 80. Hey, I guess it's already pretty good. Okay, then this thing that should be welded, has to be welded. That front trunk needs to be made for him. Including the shape in front, you have to make it too. What about this Ferrari? You know, the pointy one in the front. Right, what about a serious Ferrari? The front is all made of aluminum alloy. Peace. Won't use this steel part. So this weight will be lighter. So what about this car? It's pretty heavy. Okay, that frame is now welded. Then you need to make this anti-rust paint. Is that okay? Is it all this steel structure? You know the weather in Vietnam? The humidity is relatively high. Was it that summer? It rains every 3 to 5 or something. This one rusts easily. So while this one hasn't rusted. Yes. Hurry up and spray an anti-rust paint. That one is red. Is everything okay at that time? Anyway, this will be in the end. You can't see it either. Okay, what about the spray paint? There's not much to say. Anyway, at home. Hey, it doesn't matter where you spray it. What is the main thing? The frame must be covered with this paint in place. Otherwise, spend so much effort and spend so much money. The embroidery was gone in half a year. I can't get through it. Okay, that outside. Now this goes here normally, where you can see it. Basically sprayed him. Of course, this and the other side of the ground, you have to spray under the chassis too. So, these guys stood up this frame. The bottom should also be painted the same. After spraying, the frame is basically finished. That's not bad. Seriously. Hey, it feels a bit like the original Ferrari factory. And according to his structure, there's nothing wrong with it. Extraordinary crash resistance. Extremely sturdy. Sure. What's the premise? The premise is that you choose the right welding electrode. Otherwise, this collision, this one, there is no problem in itself. Welding that position Is the weld open? Then it's over. Okay, these two. This one experienced a lot by moving to plastic stools. Packed a handful. Okay, it looks like that. Okay, so there's a follow-up. The most important question, that is, the power system needs to be solved for him. Next, lift this frame out. Put it in the living room. The place is big enough. The engine is hoisted. Okay, what about hoisting the engine? That's easy to say, but there's a lot of technology in there. Do you want the right insulation position? Otherwise, as soon as your drive shaft comes out, pair with this wheel. Discover. Look at this tradition. It has to be crooked. That's a little embarrassing. Because this is the best one. An angle of power transmission. It's a straight line. If you tilt it, that's fine. After all, he can still make a Halloween festival or something. But what about this? A loss of power. Originally, this Toyota 4-cylinder engine, the horsepower is there, right? Are you going to make losses again? This unnecessary loss of power. This car can't run down again. What's the other difficulty? You need to give the confirmation number for the position of this machine foot. Engine. How is how? Is it fixed to this frame? It's this machine foot glue. And here's what you see. And this one has a base. Weld him to this frame. There's one of these rubbers on top. A rubber ring. Should be called. It's a big circle. Then connect a piece to this engine. If you do this, the engine will hold up. And the vibrating door of the engine. There wouldn't be as much conduction to this frame. Although this machine foot glue is this rubber, but there will still be some of this. The vibrations are transmitted to the frame. It's just a lot better than this hard connection. And of course, the automobile industry is what it is today. This machine foot glue is actually improving. It's not that this remains the same for thousands of years. This is a rubber pillar, rubber ring. There are still some with that oil pressure pack. So inside this rubber, there is one that should be called this hydraulic oil. So what? The shock absorption effect is particularly good. Of course. This rubber ages easily. This hydraulic squid in here is leaking out. This horn has to be replaced. Aging. This is why we often have some old car. Oops, this engine starts. Then the steering wheel makes the root vibrate. And this seat is also vibrating. What kind of butt hurts and the butt is numb? That's what's broken. Hurry up and change it. It's not expensive either. Of course, the company fee may be slightly higher. Okay, so now they're soldering. Connect this base of this horn. I measured it, found this shape. This height. This size is more suitable. And this thing needs to be welded well. Welding control. The vibrations of this engine are all transmitted. If the welding is not good, it will be ha-ha as soon as it is separated. Done side. What about the other side? Different shape. They took a piece of cardboard and made a mold. Put it up. I plan to ride directly on this frame. Of course, don't worry. The last section. It's still going to be welded to this frame. Then follow this paper film now. I'm drawing the shape on top of this plate. Can everyone see it? This one uses a steel plate. It's much thicker than the previous one. Is that okay? There is one over there. Forced shape. But this side relies on these two pieces. So, there's nothing wrong with this steel plate being thicker. Is this a dissolving fish? Right, it doesn't matter if it goes too far. Is it strong? But this thing can't be thinner, can it? It's easy to collapse. Let's collapse. Think about it. Production of engines. If it crashes, can't the engine fall to the ground? What effect might it have recently? On bang. The engine fell to the ground. The car has passed. And then an old lady in the back. Lad. You lost something. It's pretty big. Do you still want it? No, I took it. This thing sells scrap metal. Can still sell for a lot of money. You're kidding. That's what he's working on right now. This one, on the other side, bracket for horns. It's just two pieces. Punching holes is also a traditional craft. First hit a small eye with a small drill, then switch to a big drill. A rough drill widens the hole. Hey, just expand it to the required diameter. Ah, as for why. In fact, brothers who have worked in hardware should know this. Punch holes in such a thick steel plate. Use the drill directly. Ah, quite possible. This hole is not finished yet. The drill bit hung up, haha. So you use a little drill to open the eye first, then expand it with a big drill. Okay, then this bracket has been processed. Just 2 pieces of iron. There's a snail in the middle going through. The 2 ends are so matched. Hey, it's fixed here. The way this neck is also very simple. It's the screws. Ah, his horns are actually a little more primitive. Start a little. In fact, what about this shock absorption effect? That's what happened. Unlike what I just said, many now, there is this oil tooth bag in the horns. That kind of shock absorption effect is better. When it's on, you won't feel much vibration. Of course, provided he is not broken. Well, there's nothing to say about this welding job. Just aim the welding electrode at the position and burn it like this. Then the horn is welded straight down. Okay, there's one last one. Is this the location of the gearbox? Get it up to. Under normal circumstances, this family car of most cars. Ah, there are 3 machine feet. What about 1 gearbox for 2 engines? Ah, why 3 instead of 4? Here's a little bit of knowledge for you. 3 points can determine a plane. But for points, it's not easy to determine a plane. Ah, this should be regarded as a physics common sense. It's math. Ah, let's do it. Whatever physics and math will do. Ah, so this machine foot. The feet of the engine are generally made of 3. It will hold up. Okay, how about it is certain that he is on a flat surface. You don't care if I'm diagonal or horizontal. Anyway, I am a plane. But if you pack 4, so what is possible? It has the power of a screwdriver. Just twist him like that. There is a hard force. How about this? It will produce some haha. Something you didn't expect. Right. What are you laughing at? Some unexpected surprises? Or some unexpected mess thing? Ah, so it's usually 3. Ah, that's a digression. We install the computer ourselves. Ah, 16 before this. Did you first work in computers? We install 3 screws for hard disks. Do not pack 4. Why is that? Or is it the one who just said a truth? 3 points determine a plane. Okay, this gearbox, this piece, this foot bracket, it's already done. Let's take a look. This engine, even if it has been fixed to this frame. What if you want to turn the engine out then? Give it these 3 horn screws directly. Remove it. You can take it out. The bracket is still left here, on this beam of the chassis. Now the position of this horn is determined and welded. The rope that hangs the engine can be removed. What about the engine? It can be completely fixed on it. What about their main job today? It's almost over. Of course, there are still 3 or 4 minutes left. What? You have to hand over the next thing. Alright, so now the engine is deployed. The old father thought about it for a while. It looks alright, but I still don't know. After all, this engine, the gearbox still weighs a lot. What about this frame? They thought about it? Yeah, there are still some things to do. We can see that this engine is indeed quite old. Above this, there is a lot of oil leakage and sludge. I don't know if they will clean it up later. After all, is that a Ferrari? Right, they did it themselves. Okay, this one. That topic just now. It's just that the old father thinks his car price may still be a weakness. So, added another one at the location of this engine. Vertical beam. Is he like this? Are you a pillar? Why is that? Because later they have to start thinking about this suspension. Hanging problem. Is the engine gearbox up? Okay, this rear suspension and front suspension have to be done up. But what about this position where the rear is suspended? Let's be more reliable. After all, this, as soon as the drive shaft comes out, there's a twist, saw there, and this one has to move up and down. Ah, so it's just adding a vertical beam. The next step is to put some welding positions. Polish it. Give him this anti-rust paint to refill. Brush. Ah, is that the same sentence? Can't this be? The car is rusty before it's taken care of. This thing is useless. Right, so much time, spends so much energy. What about the painting process? Nothing to say. Ah, just take a brush, let's stop spraying. Ah, the horns are also brushed. This is all a regular operation. No problem. Okay, after this is painted. Just a few people starting to discuss something. Hey, what's up with this suspension? How long is the length of this drive shaft? Ah, isn't the length okay? Then change it. The suspension is using this. It should be a double fork arm because of this rear suspension. The engine is installed so low. If you use another torsion beam, I guess there's nowhere to put it. So directly on this concrete floor, take the chalk and draw like this. Draw a triangle. Do you think this is a double fork arm? One above and one below. Is the side wheel so installed? It's over. Okay, this is the content in the future. This episode will not do that. Hang well. What about our video today? It's almost over. The wheels are here. I feel it. Indeed, it kind of means that reinstall the car shell like this. It's the Ferrari and the Rafa is out. You said this? Ferrari saw this car. Will the brain buzz? Ha ha ha. Okay, so what about our video today? It's over here. Thanks for watching. I am Lou16. See you on the next show. Thank you very much.